Welcome to CrashMagic. I realised I hadn't done a tutorial for a while, so in this video we've got a performance of a card trick, and then for anyone who wants to learn it, a tutorial immediately after. This is a card trick all about two critical decisions: which card to pick and where to place it back into the pack. And I'd like two spectators to make those decisions. In order to pick a card, I'm going to dribble the cards, and I'd like my first spectators to say stop at any point. Okay, here we go. Stop here. Let's mark this exact point. Now, you could have decided to say stop a little earlier or maybe slightly later, but let's take a look exactly where you stopped, which is right here. Now we'll take a look at that card in just a second. But before we do, I'd like the help of a second person to decide where this card is going back into the deck. As before, I'm going to dribble the cards, and if you could shout stop at any point. Here. So we'll split the pack at this point. Now, back to that card that was chosen. Can you turn it face up so that we can all see it? Okay, 10 of hearts. If you could remember that card, and then we'll place it back here, not face down but face up, so that we can all see it, and then place the rest of the cards on top. Now we're going to push this card into the deck, and you can clearly see it going right in. So, a freely chosen card and a freely chosen position. If we now though look through the pack, and can we find your card? Yes, here it is here, the 10 of hearts face up. Not the best trick I know so far, but if we continue to spread the cards, there is now another card also face up. Your card, the 10 of hearts, and its mate, the 10 of diamonds, and there's no other cards face up in the pack. So, two matching cards. But wouldn't it be better if we had 4 matching cards? Now there's not really any way you can improve on an ending like that. Well, not unless you have a royal flush. So that was the trick, and you can add your own performance routine around it. Now if you want to learn it, I'll show you exactly how it's done. It's incredibly easy to perform, and there's no tricky moves or sleights to do. There's a setup to begin with, but from then it's pretty much self-working. So here then is how you put together your setup. So starting with the 10 of diamonds, place that face up, and then face down on top of that we're going to place 10 of clubs, Jack of spades, Queen of spades, King of spades, Ace of spades, 10 of spades, and 10 of hearts. And then if we flip this over, so now the 10 of diamonds is face down on top, this is your setup and this is your stack that's going to go on top of the pack to begin with. So if we just spread these out so you can see them again. So I've got 10 of diamonds face down on top, followed by the 10 of clubs, Jack of spades, Queen of spades, King of spades, Ace of spades, 10 of spades, and 10 of hearts. And then these will go on top of the pack of cards. That's your setup done, and you're ready to begin. Now you can go straight into the trick from here, but if you prefer you can do some false shuffles and cuts first, as long as you don't disturb or flash any of that setup that's on top. You probably have your own favourite methods, but if you don't, here's a couple of easy false shuffles you can do. You can turn the cards face up and do an overhand shuffle, but then once you get near to the end, so the top of the pack, you slip that back underneath to keep that stack on top of the pack. Another very similar way of doing it is again an overhand shuffle, so just the same as last time, but normally in an overhand shuffle you have your fingers underneath the pack like this, but in this case what we're going to do is wrap our fingers around the bottom of the pack to hold that top section, those stack cards in place. So we pull to do an overhand shuffle, it keeps that section, those stack cards in place, and then we can continue to do the overhand shuffle as normal, and we can go all the way through with the shuffle and finish without having to place cards on the top at the end. Okay, so with or without false shuffles, you're now ready to begin, and you're going to ask a spectator to say stop, to choose a card as you dribble the cards from one hand down into the other. Now you can't dribble right down to the very end or else your stack of cards will be seen. So if you're getting close to that top section and your spectator still hasn't said stop, just close up the cards, remind them that they need to say stop before you get to that end, and start again. As soon as they say stop, to mark their card, you're going to flip over the top section of cards and place them down on top of that card. You can remind everyone at this point that they could have chosen to stop at any point, and then if you spread the cards until you come to the first face down card, that will be their selected card. Now you need to just be slightly careful as you do this, because a little further down is going to be a face up 10 of diamonds, which of course you don't want anyone to see. So as you spread the cards, it's best to keep the main pack fairly together in your hand. So once you come to that first face down card, then you place it down on the table, and then the cards that you've got face up in your hand, they go face down onto the table now, and the rest of the cards in your other hand, they go on top. So your spectator has their card, but I prefer not to let them look at it just yet, because we're now going to get either the same or a different spectator to decide where the card is going to go back into the pack, and this works best with a little bit of time misdirection. So again, we're going to dribble the cards down, and we're going to ask a spectator to say stop. So let's say they say stop right here. Now you're going to put the top half of the pack down onto the table, and you need to remember this is the pile that the chosen card is going to go on top of, and then place the other half of the pack down as well. So in actual fact, although the deck has been split into two, the chosen card is actually going to go right on top of the pack. Now this isn't going to be obvious to your spectators, but this is why it's handy to have some time misdirection, and the best misdirection you can use is to have the spectator now look at the card that they chose. Their card's always going to be the 10 of hearts, and once they've looked at it and remembered it, you ask them to place it face up on this pile here. Remember the pile that was top of the pack, and then place the other pile on top, and you can push the card in. Now of course at this point your spectators have no idea what's going to happen next in this trick. They might think maybe you're going to reveal their card somehow, or maybe their card is going to miraculously turn face down. So you can make some magical gesture over the cards or something like that before spreading them. You can just spread them out onto the table, but again I prefer to spread them in my hands, and in that way you can control the spread. Of course you're first of all going to come up to the face up 10 of hearts before you continue on spreading the cards to show the first revelation, which is that the matching card to the 10 of hearts, the 10 of diamonds, is now also face up. You can show there's no other face up cards in the pack, and place the two face up 10s and all the cards in between down onto the table. Now you can pause for a second here as if that's the end of the trick, before taking these two end cards and showing the second revelation, which is all four 10s. After another pause, you can then take the 10 of spades and turn over the remaining four cards for the grand finale, a royal flush. Well, that is the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed that trick. If you did, please give it a like. If you've got any comments, leave them down below, and see you soon.